Hi everyone and welcome to Taurus Astro. In today's video, we're going to explore what happens when the Lord of the third house is placed in each of the 12 houses in your birth chart. Before we dive into the placements, let's understand why the third house and its Lord are so important in Vedic astrology. The third house represents your courage, willpower, communication, and most importantly, your ability to put in consistent effort. It governs the energy and dedication you bring into your daily life, your ambitions, your ability to fight for what you want, and even your hobbies, skills, short travels, and relationships with siblings. The natural karakas or significators of this house are Mars and Mercury. Mars brings drive, stamina, and competitive spirit, while Mercury adds sharpness in communication, trade, analysis, and intellect. Even if the actual third lord in your chart is another planet, the strength and placement of Mars and Mercury still influence the overall results of the third house. This is a house of action and growth. It rewards those who are willing to fight for their goals. It's considered an upachaya house, which means results improve over time. Malefic planets like Mars, Saturn, and Rahu often do well here, pushing you through struggle into strength. Benefic planets like Venus, Moon, or Jupiter may face more challenges, but they bring their own subtle gifts if supported well. Knowing where your third lord is placed can reveal how your efforts shape your life, whether they show up in your career, your personality, your relationships, or your spiritual path. So stay tuned as we go house by house, breaking down how the third lord behaves in each placement. If you find value in this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update from Taurus Astro. Let's begin. When the third house lord is placed in the first house, it creates a strong connection between your personal drive and the house of effort, courage, and communication. People with this placement are usually self-made, motivated, and highly independent. They believe in their own capacity to shape life through persistent effort. These individuals are not the ones to wait for help from others. Instead, they push through obstacles with their willpower and take responsibility for their own destiny. This position shows a person who is naturally action-oriented. They have the stamina, energy, and mindset to work relentlessly toward their goals. The third house represents willpower, courage, communication, skills, and siblings. When its lord comes to the first house, it deeply influences your nature and personality. You become someone who doesn't give up easily. There's often a competitive spirit and a sense of healthy aggression that helps you stand firm until you achieve what you set your mind to. This placement also sharpens your communication skills. Depending on which planet rules or sits in the third house, your speaking style could vary. If benefic or soft planets like Venus, Moon, Mercury, or Jupiter are involved, your speech tends to be calm, charming, and persuasive. If fiery or more intense planets like Mars, Sun, or Ketu are involved, your speech may be more direct, bold, or even blunt. Either way, people with this placement often have a powerful presence when they speak, and they are able to influence others with their words. Since the third house also rules over hobbies, skills, and short-distance travels, this placement can bring a natural attraction to adventure, fitness, sports, driving, or exploring new places. You may enjoy things like hiking, biking, or even more extreme activities like skydiving. There's also often a strong interest in fields like writing, performing arts, technology, or mass communication. If Mercury is strong, this could even point to natural talent in logical thinking, analysis, and STEM fields like science, mathematics, or engineering. These individuals may also be drawn to entrepreneurship. They often prefer to be their own boss and are willing to take risks to build something independently. However, not everyone with this placement will become a business owner. The full chart must be considered to see whether this potential actually manifests. Still, the seed of business sense, independence, and leadership is often there. They also tend to be quite socially adaptable. Even if they're introverts, they know how to express themselves clearly and make connections that matter. One notable impact of this placement is the influence of younger siblings in your life. You may be close to your siblings, or they might play a significant role in your growth or career path. In some cases, your siblings may even be more financially well off than you or introduce you to opportunities that change your life. Collaboration with siblings, especially in business or media, can bring long-term success. You may also gain from them directly or indirectly. On a deeper level, the third house lord in the first house can also create a strong identity around being productive and skilled. You might be the kind of person who constantly wants to improve, learn new things, and stay ahead. Your personality could be deeply shaped by the idea that effort is everything. You don't take shortcuts. You prefer hard-earned success. This can bring fulfillment and recognition, especially if your chart supports public visibility. However, if the third lord is afflicted or placed in an uncomfortable sign, some negative results may also appear. In such cases, even though you make efforts, success may be delayed or inconsistent. If Saturn is the third lord and it's weak, it could sometimes bring laziness or procrastination, especially when placed in signs like Scorpio or in the absence of positive aspects. It could also bring complications in relationships, especially if malefic influences dominate. Despite these challenges, this is usually a strong and empowering placement, especially in modern times. With social media and online platforms becoming more dominant, many people with this placement find their voice through YouTube, Instagram, or writing. If Rahu or Venus is involved, there can be success in fields related to acting, media, or digital platforms. This makes it a powerful combination for careers in communication, content creation, or any area where personal effort is rewarded. In summary, having the third house lord in the first house builds a personality that thrives on personal will, skill, and determination. Whether it's business, art, communication, or leadership, your ability to act independently and communicate effectively plays a central role in your journey. When the lord of the third house is placed in the second house in a birth chart, it creates a strong connection between your efforts, communication, and courage with your wealth, speech, and family life. This placement shows that your ability to earn money can be strongly tied to how well you communicate and how persistent you are in your efforts. You are likely to rely on your own skills, ideas, and determination to accumulate wealth and provide for your family. You might take pride in working hard and building your resources through personal initiatives, especially in careers where communication, writing, speaking, or networking is important. This placement also highlights the importance of speech in your life. Since both the second and third houses are connected to communication, this combination can make you naturally expressive, talkative, and persuasive. You might have a strong desire to be heard, to connect with others through words, and to maintain close relationships with your siblings and family members. In many cases, you can impress others with the way you speak, teach, or present ideas. If benefic planets like Mercury, Venus, or Jupiter influence this placement, your speech can become charming, diplomatic, creative, or full of wisdom. It may even become a major source of income for you. The combination is particularly good for professions like writing, public speaking, teaching, journalism, sales, marketing, design, and anything involving media or communication. If you work in such areas, you might gain recognition and financial success. It also supports careers in financial services, accounting, education, advertising, and even creative fields like music, poetry, or fashion. You may also find success in joint family ventures or businesses where your siblings or family members are involved. These efforts could help you grow your wealth and build long-term stability. However, the exact results depend on the strength and dignity of the planets involved. If the third lord is afflicted by malefics like Mars, Rahu, Saturn, or Ketu, it can create some negative patterns. You may become blunt, harsh, or too straightforward in speech, which can affect your relationships. In severe cases, there may be tendencies to lie, manipulate, or use speech for selfish gain. Family harmony may suffer if communication is not respectful. You could also experience misunderstandings or arguments with siblings or relatives, especially if the second house or its lord is also weak. This placement can also show a deep connection between your values and your early environment. Your younger siblings or close relatives may influence the way you see life and shape your personal ethics. At the same time, you may feel a responsibility to guide or support them. Communication within the family becomes an important tool for maintaining peace and emotional balance. If the placement is strong, you'll likely have a healthy, supportive relationship with your family based on mutual respect and open conversations. In some cases, when the third lord moves to the 12th position from itself, which is the second house, it may create a tendency to delay action or avoid taking responsibility. You might wait for others, especially family members, to take charge or support you, which can create dependency or laziness. If not addressed, this can lead to friction within the family or a lack of motivation to pursue your goals independently. It is important to stay aware of this pattern and push yourself to take initiative and ownership in your life. However, the exact results depend on the strength and dignity of the planets involved. If the third lord is afflicted by malefics like Mars, Rahu, Saturn, or Ketu, it can create some negative patterns. You may become blunt, harsh, or too straightforward in speech, which can affect your relationships. In severe cases, there may be tendencies to lie, manipulate, or use speech for selfish gain. Family harmony may suffer if communication is not respectful. You could also experience misunderstandings or arguments with siblings or relatives, especially if the second house or its lord is also weak. This placement can also show a deep connection between your values and your early environment. Your younger siblings or close relatives may influence the way you see life and shape your personal ethics. At the same time, you may feel a responsibility to guide or support them. Communication within the family becomes an important tool for maintaining peace and emotional balance. If the placement is strong, you'll likely have a healthy, supportive relationship with your family based on mutual respect and open conversations. In some cases, when the third lord moves to the 12th position from itself, which is the second house, it may create a tendency to delay action or avoid taking responsibility. You might wait for others, especially family members, to take charge or support you, which can create dependency or laziness. If not addressed, this can lead to friction within the family or a lack of motivation to pursue your goals independently. It is important to stay aware of this pattern and push yourself to take initiative and ownership in your life. When the third lord is placed in the third house, it creates a very strong and self-sustaining energy. This is because the planet that rules effort, courage, communication, and skills returns to its natural domain, reinforcing all the qualities associated with the third house. Such individuals are naturally hardworking, driven, and motivated to achieve their goals through personal effort. Laziness does not sit well with them, and they often carry an inner fire that pushes them to keep going even in difficult circumstances. This placement also gives a strong aspect to the 9th house, which is the house of luck, higher learning, and fortune. The message here is clear: the more effort you put in, the more fortunate you become. Success for these people doesn't come from shortcuts or luck alone, it comes through focused and consistent action. When they align their efforts with a clear life goal or direction, their hard work transforms into long-term success and recognition. People with this placement usually possess excellent communication abilities, both verbal and written. Their speech tends to be clear, confident, and often inspiring. If fiery planets like Mars, Sun, or Ketu are involved, the speech becomes bold and assertive. If softer planets like Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, or Moon are involved, the communication becomes more gentle, persuasive, and charming. Either way, they know how to express themselves effectively and can influence others through their words. This placement also points to strong physical energy, stamina, and courage. These are the kind of individuals who don't give up easily. They often have a competitive spirit and a desire to win through their own efforts. Even if they fail, they will try again with more determination. This mental toughness can make them excellent in fields that require persistence, leadership, or resilience, such as sports, defense, politics, business, or any performance-based career. Sibling relationships can play an important role in their life. Sometimes, these connections are smooth and supportive, but in some cases, there may be challenges or responsibilities connected to younger siblings. The native might feel deeply responsible for their siblings' well-being or may have to work hard to maintain peace and harmony within the family structure. These experiences teach the native maturity and the value of loyalty and support in close relationships. There's also a strong connection to creativity and skills that involve the hands, such as painting, writing, sculpting, or playing instruments. Many people with this placement excel in media, communication, journalism, sales, or artistic fields. They may also show a deep interest in technology, gadgets, or practical skills. If Mercury is strong in the chart, the native may be exceptionally clever, analytical, and tech-savvy. Professionally, these individuals are action-oriented and realistic. They understand that dreams require effort. This practicality allows them to handle responsibility well and to stay grounded while pursuing high ambitions. They are also often involved in jobs that require travel, meeting people, or dealing with various environments, like consultants, salespeople, teachers, or entrepreneurs. In fact, frequent short journeys can actually open up new opportunities and success for them. This placement also supports leadership qualities. These people often inspire others, either through their courage or their clear sense of purpose. They may take charge in challenging situations and have a never-give-up attitude. They don't wait for external motivation, they create it from within. Whether in a team or on their own, they are usually the driving force behind progress. Overall, the third lord in the third house is considered a very positive placement, especially when not afflicted. It blesses the native with energy, courage, practical intelligence, and a deep understanding of the value of effort. It encourages a life of action, purpose, and communication. When supported by good planetary aspects, it can lead to success, recognition, and personal satisfaction across many fields. When the lord of the third house is placed in the fourth house, it creates a deep emotional connection between effort and inner peace. The third house represents communication, courage, siblings, hobbies, and personal effort, while the fourth house is about the home, mother, comfort, and emotional security. When these two energies meet, it shows a person who puts a lot of effort into building a secure and peaceful environment. They may work hard from home, or even work for their home, making it a place of growth and emotional satisfaction. This placement often makes a person emotionally intelligent. They are not just good at expressing their own feelings, but also understanding how others feel. Their communication style carries warmth, empathy, and sincerity, which makes them very approachable, especially within family or close social circles. They may not be the most outgoing in large groups, but in their private space, they have strong bonds with friends, siblings, and family members. Their mother might be a friend, a guide, or even a strong figure who inspires discipline and effort. Sometimes, this placement can also bring emotional struggles related to the mother. Even though the person may try very hard to keep their mother happy, there can be a lingering feeling of emotional distance or a clash of opinions. In some cases, the mother might be very hardworking or have excellent communication skills herself, which could influence the native's own approach to effort and goals. Because the third lord goes second from its own house and fourth from the lagna, it also enhances the ability to accumulate resources through one's skills, efforts, or hobbies. The native may use their personal interests, such as music, painting, cooking, or writing, as a source of peace and self-expression. These hobbies can even become a profession or a side source of income. The placement often brings a desire to grow assets like a house or vehicle, and the person may work long and hard to achieve that dream. This position creates a strong desire to maintain harmony within the home. Even though the third house is active and the fourth house is passive, this combination shows someone who is working for inner stability rather than external recognition. Their peace of mind depends on emotional safety, not just material comfort. They want a home life without drama, one that supports their mental calm and provides a space to recharge. This can sometimes lead to becoming possessive or overly protective about their private life and loved ones. If the moon and Mercury are strong in the chart, this placement becomes very favorable. It brings out creative talents and makes the person capable of expressing emotions with clarity and depth. It can lead to careers or hobbies connected with public speaking, writing, teaching, or any expressive art. However, if these supporting planets are weak, or if the fourth house is afflicted, the person may feel restless at home or face difficulties in maintaining peace. Even with material achievements, there could be a lack of inner satisfaction. There is also a strong possibility that the person lives far from their birthplace. The efforts they make might lead them to foreign lands, or simply away from their roots. In some charts, this can bring spiritual tendencies, like meditation or introspection, especially if the person is inclined toward inner development. These practices can bring mental clarity and help them align with their deeper emotional needs. Another effect of this placement is that work and home boundaries may blur. The person could be working from home, or their profession might become deeply personal. Their career goals are not just about success, but about inner fulfillment. In some cases, younger siblings play a role in supporting the native's goals, especially when it comes to building assets or pursuing hobbies. This placement connects the third house's courage with the fourth house's emotional goals, creating a life path where effort leads to emotional security. Although this is generally a positive placement, health-related issues to the mother may arise. Since the third house can bring challenges and the fourth house represents the mother, long-term health concerns, especially hidden or slow-developing ones, may affect her. These could involve arms, lungs, or chest areas, or be the result of old stress or effort. It's wise to take proactive care in this area. But overall, this placement offers a path of growth where inner peace is earned through effort, emotional maturity, and meaningful connection with home and self. When the third lord is placed in the fifth house, the individual's efforts and personal drive are closely linked to education, creativity, intelligence, and children. This placement brings a natural desire to acquire knowledge and to use it meaningfully in life. People with this combination often strive to rise in life through learning, using both their intelligence and creative skills. They may face obstacles in education, but their focus remains on growth through mental development, and they work hard to overcome challenges related to learning and self-improvement. This placement also creates a connection between the third and the ninth house through trinal aspects, which suggests responsibilities or karmic links with the father. There can be a strong drive to gain respect or recognition from the father, or to fulfill familial expectations through education and personal success. In some cases, there might be tensions or difficulties with the father, especially if other chart factors show affliction. Still, the person is motivated to make significant efforts to improve their life circumstances through the use of knowledge, skills, and talent. Since the fifth house represents intelligence, memory, creativity, and speculative ventures like stock markets, the energy of the third lord enhances these areas. This combination can produce someone who is both logical and artistic. They may have a strong analytical mind along with imagination and innovation. Their ability to think critically and creatively gives them an edge in fields like writing, design, communication, performing arts, media, marketing, teaching, and counseling. In terms of children, this placement suggests that the native might have a communicative and talented child. However, the relationship could involve some ups and downs, such as misunderstandings or periods of distance, especially related to education or travels. Despite this, the individual is likely to put in a lot of effort into supporting their children's growth and education, possibly even sacrificing personal comforts to do so. The third to fifth movement is considered favorable in Vedic astrology under the concept of Bhavat Bhavam. It strengthens the themes of the fifth house because the house of effort is supporting the house of results. People with this placement are often visionary and determined to fulfill goals that others may see as impossible. They are the ones who take bold steps toward educational and personal ambitions, sometimes despite limited resources. This combination can also suggest a deep interest in the stock market, trading, or speculation. The person may be driven to understand these complex systems and use that knowledge to build long-term wealth. Their growth in such areas will likely be steady and based on persistent effort. This is not the kind of placement that supports sudden windfalls, but rather disciplined and informed growth. In relationships and romance, there can be many opportunities, but maintaining stability will require effort. This placement doesn't give easy results in love life without commitment and communication. Since the third house represents effort and communication, and the fifth house is linked to romance, you have to work consciously to maintain harmony in romantic or emotional matters. This placement can make the native socially active, humorous, and expressive. There is often a natural liking for arts, literature, beauty, entertainment, and anything that requires mental involvement. They may also be driven by status, recognition, and the desire to stand out in a crowd. Their charm and intellect make them good at attracting attention and influencing others. While the combination is largely positive, the results depend on the strength and nature of the planets involved. If the third lord is malefic or weak, the native might face delays or struggles related to children, education, or personal fulfillment. If benefic and well-placed, this placement brings an enriching, purposeful, and achievement-oriented life path through learning, effort, and inner drive. When the third house lord is placed in the sixth house, it brings a strong urge to work hard, overcome challenges, and fight through life's tests with determination. This placement often creates a person who is deeply committed to their daily work and routines. They may be naturally inclined toward methodical effort, discipline, and perseverance. Such individuals tend to be focused, organized, and goal-oriented. Their ability to face competition, manage stress, and confront problems head-on gives them the strength to succeed, especially when their chart supports resilience and mental stamina. This position creates a deep connection between one's efforts and the world of service, routine jobs, and problem-solving. The sixth house is related to enemies, debts, health issues, and legal matters, so when the third lord comes here, the person might experience delays and obstacles, especially when taking initiatives or starting something new. But if the ascendant lord is strong, the native becomes a true fighter, someone who grows stronger after every fall. They learn not through books but through real-life struggles. Their experiences shape them into practical, intelligent, and sharp individuals. People with this placement often excel in fields related to medicine, healthcare, fitness, the military, defense, law, finance, or management. These careers demand effort, discipline, and the ability to handle pressure, qualities that are natural for someone with this placement. They may also do well in journalism or media, particularly where competition and strategic thinking are involved. Their strong desire to win and prove themselves helps them rise, even if they face setbacks in the beginning. Another important aspect is their ability to use adversity as fuel for success. They often thrive in environments where challenges are present, such as tough work settings or competitive fields. Even if life doesn't offer easy results early on, they have the will to keep going. Over time, their persistence allows them to accumulate wealth and status. They might not come from a background where their profession is common, making them pioneers in their families, like being the first doctor, lawyer, or banker. Still, this placement can carry risks. Physical health may need extra care, especially if the third lord is afflicted. Habits like smoking or other stress-related patterns could lead to long-term health issues. It's important for them to manage energy wisely and avoid burning out due to overwork or unnecessary battles. They may also face relationship issues, especially if the sixth house is heavily afflicted, as this house can indicate divorce or tensions with siblings and partners. Financially, they often rely on loans and strategic investments to grow. They may have a talent for using borrowed money wisely, taking one loan, investing it, building something bigger, and repeating the cycle. However, if the third lord is weak or in a bad dignity, this borrowing pattern can turn into a trap, where they constantly struggle to repay debts. So they must remain cautious and balanced in financial decisions. Their relationship with siblings might also be complicated. Either there are no siblings, or there are struggles with them. In some cases, the siblings may face health issues or may live separately. There's also a possibility that siblings become rivals or distant over time. But even with all these issues, the person becomes wiser, tougher, and more self-reliant. This placement ultimately demands self-belief and maturity. Challenges are inevitable, but they are also the tools for growth. If the native stays focused, learns from every failure, and uses their effort intelligently, they will find fulfillment. The sixth house may test them, but it also builds the inner warrior who refuses to give up, no matter how hard the battle becomes. When the third house lord is placed in the seventh house, it shows that your efforts, skills, and communication are deeply connected to relationships and partnerships. You are someone who can build meaningful connections through dialogue, persuasion, and smart negotiation. This placement enhances your ability to form both personal and professional relationships, and often makes you naturally good at dealing with people, clients, or the public. Your spouse may be very intelligent and practical, and your relationship may have a strong intellectual or logical foundation rather than just emotional bonding. You are likely to be socially aware, realistic, and sometimes even opportunistic. You understand how the world functions and know how to navigate through society with practical intelligence. This doesn't make you cold, it just makes you sharp, clever, and aware. You want results, and you're willing to work hard to achieve them. This placement doesn't incline a person to spirituality, but it definitely increases material ambition, success in business, and a drive for recognition and power. You may never feel completely satisfied because the desire for more, money, success, influence, keeps you pushing forward. This is a very strong combination for success in independent ventures and entrepreneurship. The seventh house represents business and marketplace energy. And when the third lord lands here, your natural effort combines with business sense. You could do really well in sales, media, customer relations, e-commerce, or politics. You don't need to push forcefully. Your smart speech, persuasive personality, and calculated presentation style help you succeed. You often gain through communication, charm, and strategy, and you might not even realize how well you influence people. On a karmic level, this placement suggests that marriage or partnerships might have roots in past lives. There's often a sense that the partner you attract is part of some unfinished journey. Love marriages are possible here, and when emotionally invested, you can go to great lengths to be with the one you love. However, if emotional needs are not met, this placement can also lead to attraction outside of the committed relationship. There's a strong craving for connection, and you may try to satisfy that need through new relationships or intense friendships. There is also a tendency to build deep emotional or even romantic bonds with friends or cousins, especially if the third lord is connected with Rahu, Mars, or other intense influences. If negatively placed, this position can lead to instability in marriage or partnerships. Lies, emotional coldness, manipulation, or even abusive dynamics can appear if the third lord is afflicted. In such cases, the person might maintain a public image of a good relationship while hiding private dissatisfaction or deceit. You're not just a dreamer, you are someone who wants to build something long-lasting and impactful in the world. Your ideas are bold, and your energy is high. You might take unique routes in business, and you often have a high appetite for risk. You're not the kind to sell things in a traditional way. Instead, you might propose results-based or value-based models, seeking a reward that matches the impact you create. This can lead to very successful outcomes, especially if you have strong supporting planets like Mercury or Jupiter. In your personal life, this placement brings creativity and intensity to your romantic and physical relationships. You are not someone who settles for dull or lifeless interactions. You often surprise your partner with new experiences or ideas, and this can help keep the relationship fresh. However, this same energy can make it difficult to stay satisfied in one relationship unless there is strong emotional or spiritual bonding. Overall, the third lord in the seventh house is a powerful placement for growth in relationships, business, and communication. It helps you form strong networks, work independently, and achieve success through intelligence and effort. But it also carries a shadow side: greed, restlessness, dissatisfaction, and possible complications in marriage if not handled wisely. Use your natural gifts carefully, and success will follow both in love and in career. When the lord of the third house is placed in the eighth house, your efforts may often feel like they're not producing the results you expect. You may find yourself trying hard, but the outcomes are either delayed, blocked, or arrive in unpredictable ways. This can create a cycle of hope followed by disappointment, making it feel like your energy goes up and down. The eighth house, being naturally connected to Scorpio, brings a fluctuating and transformative energy, which makes your path of effort anything but linear. This placement tends to bring challenges that test your patience, emotional strength, and willpower. However, it also pushes you toward introspection and discovering your deeper motivations. You may often question the meaning behind your efforts or the purpose of your actions. To navigate this, connecting with your intuition becomes essential. Practices like meditation, breath work, or solitude can help align your actions with a deeper sense of purpose. Once you're in sync with your inner voice, your efforts start to yield powerful results. Since the 8th house rules hidden knowledge, mysteries, and transformation, your energy may thrive in fields that involve secrecy, research, or psychological depth. Careers in occult sciences, psychology, astrology, investigative work, surgery, auditing, or even intelligence services suit this placement well. You are likely to do better in paths that require digging beneath the surface, analyzing complex systems, or handling crisis situations. At times, your life can undergo sudden changes due to your own decisions or due to circumstances involving siblings, travels, or communication. Sometimes these transformations are triggered by painful events, such as health issues or losses, which ultimately reshape your worldview. However, these are not just tragedies, they act as catalysts for growth, wisdom, and spiritual maturity. You may become more philosophical or even develop a deeper interest in metaphysical subjects. There can also be risks of sudden accidents, surgeries, or conflicts with in-laws, depending on other planetary influences. If the Ascendant Lord and the Third Lord are strong and well-placed, however, these negative possibilities are minimized. Instead of long-term damage, such events may serve as wake-up calls or temporary detours that eventually strengthen you. You emerge more resilient, capable, and transformed. This placement also fosters an analytical and observant mindset. You may prefer to remain private, speak less, and notice more. This quiet intensity often leads to success in strategy, planning, or any domain where a sharp mind is needed. Your courage and tenacity stand out, especially when you're pushed into difficult or unfamiliar situations. You may also be drawn to research-heavy fields, niche areas of science or health, or specialized education such as PhD-level work. This can involve topics like medical research, forensic science, risk analysis, or any kind of complex problem-solving. You have the power to go deep into a subject and come out with insights that benefit others. In personal life, your efforts may bring transformation through your hobbies or creative pursuits, though there could be some risks involved. For example, investing energy or money in travel-related projects or passion-driven ventures might not always go as planned. However, these experiences teach you important lessons and often lead to inner evolution. Over time, you learn how to trust your instincts, manage risk, and make more aligned decisions. Ultimately, this placement invites you to embrace depth over superficiality, and to see effort not just as a means to success, but as a path of personal transformation. You are meant to work through life's complexities and discover hidden strengths within yourself. When the Third Lord is placed in the 9th house, it creates a strong link between your personal efforts, communication, and higher values like philosophy, religion, and education. This placement often leads to a deep curiosity about spiritual or philosophical subjects, and a person may feel inspired to read scriptures, study spiritual texts, or even pursue formal higher education to expand their understanding. The drive for knowledge is not only academic but also moral and ideological, shaping a belief system that is rooted in personal study and inquiry rather than blind acceptance. People with this placement often take great responsibility toward their father or father figures. They might try very hard to support or serve their father, sometimes even feeling that despite their efforts, they are not able to fully satisfy or receive appreciation from him. This can create an emotional burden, but it also reflects a strong karmic duty. The important lesson here is to continue fulfilling your responsibilities without attachment to the outcome. The focus should be on action and sincere effort, as results will follow naturally in due time. This position also indicates an individual who is likely to engage in both short and long-distance travel, especially for educational or spiritual purposes. You may find yourself frequently visiting places of worship, pilgrimage sites, or academic institutions far from home. The idea of journeying, whether physical or intellectual, is central to this placement. These travels not only shape your outer experiences but also elevate your inner growth and understanding of the world. This is an excellent placement for those interested in fields like teaching, counseling, writing, public speaking, publishing, media, law, philosophy, or any profession that involves guidance, communication, or knowledge transfer. You are likely to have a sharp intellect, strong reasoning ability, and the talent to express complex ideas in a clear and impactful way. People with this placement often have a natural gift for languages and communication, and they may be multilingual or excellent in writing and speech. A well-placed third lord in the ninth house can also bless you with strong mentors, supportive bosses, and a wise social circle. It often indicates good karma with teachers and spiritual guides. And your journey in life can be greatly shaped by the wisdom you receive from such individuals. Your friends and professional connections may also be intellectually oriented, contributing positively to your growth and values. This placement is also associated with building a career that involves long-distance dealings or movement. You may work in industries like aviation, consulting, media, publishing, IT, or international business, where you are required to interact with people far away or travel often. Such careers allow you to merge your intellectual strengths with professional goals, especially when you are contributing to the vision or mission of others, like bosses or clients. On a deeper spiritual level, this position can elevate a person toward higher consciousness. In some rare cases, especially when Saturn is involved, the chart may indicate a path of renunciation or detachment from material life. This doesn't always mean leaving the world behind, but rather developing a deeper sense of purpose and alignment with spiritual truths. It is a call to live with integrity, values, and higher awareness while remaining grounded in worldly responsibilities. Emotionally and intellectually, people with this placement are likely to be independent thinkers. Their belief systems are formed through learning and direct experience, not merely inherited. They tend to be principled, ethical, and committed to their moral duties. This placement can make one slightly opinionated or judgmental at times, as the person may be confident in their ideals and worldview, but this is usually guided by sincere learning and experience. If the placement is afflicted or the ninth house is damaged, it can create difficulties with the father, problems in higher education, misuse of knowledge, or misguided ideologies. There may also be confusion or misdirection in belief systems, leading to ethical or moral dilemmas. But when well placed, this combination becomes a powerful force for personal growth, intellectual achievement, and spiritual evolution, guiding the person toward a meaningful and purposeful life journey. When the Lord of the third house is placed in the 10th house, it creates a powerful alignment that connects your personal efforts directly to your career and public reputation. The third house governs courage, communication, and self-initiated efforts, while the 10th house is the domain of karma, profession, and recognition in the outer world. This placement shows that your ability to rise in life is fueled by your own dedication, discipline, and relentless willpower. Your hard work doesn't go unnoticed, it becomes the foundation of your professional success. Individuals with this combination are often highly self-driven and practical. They believe in taking action rather than waiting for opportunities to come. This is not a passive placement, it requires continuous effort, but the results are solid and long-lasting. The 10th house is an upachaya house, which means success increases with time and effort. These people tend to rise gradually in life, improving their status, authority, and public image through persistence and structured work habits. This is also a placement that brings a strong sense of personal dignity, responsibility, and pride in one's career. The native tends to have high self-respect and aims to achieve a powerful position in society. Whether it is through employment, leadership roles, or self-employment, these individuals are action-oriented and believe deeply in their ability to succeed. They know that the real world rewards those who are determined and willing to put in the effort. There is often a no-nonsense attitude and a realistic understanding of how to succeed in competitive environments. Depending on the strength and nature of planets involved, especially if fiery planets like the Sun or Mars are influencing the placement, the native may show boldness, assertiveness, and a strong leadership style. These people can handle major responsibilities and often take on leadership roles. On the other hand, if softer planets like Venus, Jupiter, or the Moon are involved, their communication style may become more diplomatic, refined, and peaceful, but still equally effective. Career fields influenced by this placement can vary widely depending on the overall chart, but there is often a natural inclination towards professions involving communication, management, media, writing, business, and public service. The individual may also excel in technical fields like electronics, IT, telecom, or administration. In some cases, their hobby, especially one involving speaking, writing, or hands-on creativity, can grow into a full-time profession, especially with a strong 3rd to 10th connection. This placement can also create a deep obsession with one's career. The individual might find their identity closely tied to their work, and professional success becomes a major source of self-worth and emotional stability. The person may invest a great deal of energy into building their reputation and leaving a legacy. Their peace of mind may depend on how well they are performing in their career. And they often see their work as their duty or life mission. In many charts, this combination can indicate the potential for fame or at least public recognition. Since the 10th house is the house of public visibility, and the 3rd lord brings in communication skills and personal drive, these individuals often end up in the spotlight. Whether through social media, government roles, teaching, performing arts, or entrepreneurship, they can gain widespread acknowledgement for their efforts. There is also a strong possibility of self-employment or running a business, especially later in life. Even if they start their career in a regular job, over time, they may feel the need to create something of their own, something where they can express their individuality and leadership more freely. The desire to control their professional destiny is strong, and this often leads to creating a successful independent venture. Overall, this is a highly dynamic and growth-oriented placement. It teaches the individual that through consistent effort, sharp skills, and a clear focus on goals, they can shape their own path and achieve both professional and personal fulfillment. When the lord of the 3rd house is placed in the 11th house, it shows a strong connection between personal efforts and material gains. The 3rd house represents courage, initiative, communication, and effort, while the 11th house is the house of desires, income, social networks, and fulfillment of hopes. When these two houses get connected, the person becomes highly ambitious and goal-oriented, ready to work hard to achieve success in life. This placement often shows someone who can gain prosperity through their own efforts. They do not rely on luck or inheritance, but rather on consistent action, planning, and courage. These individuals believe deeply in the power of their own hard work. They are naturally inclined to chase their dreams and set high targets for themselves, especially in professional or financial domains. The 11th house is part of the trine of desires, and the 3rd lord landing here indicates a person with powerful ambitions. They may have a strong desire for wealth, recognition, and social influence. The passion to fulfill their goals pushes them to be resourceful, practical, and action-oriented. They might appear highly clever, diplomatic, and opportunistic, especially if Mercury is strong in their chart. Their communication style is often attractive, persuasive, and socially effective. Even if the person is introverted, this placement gives them the ability to build strong networks, form useful connections, and even lead in social or professional circles. This is a favorable position for careers in media, sales, consulting, technology, e-commerce, or business management. If supported by other planets, it can indicate an entrepreneurial mindset and good business sense. These individuals may also feel a sense of duty toward their elder siblings or may experience both bonding and occasional friction with them. Still, the sense of responsibility is often present. Over time, this placement brings social growth, better status, and steady financial gains, especially when they stay aligned with ethical conduct and disciplined effort. Malefic planets like Mars, Rahu, or the Sun can actually do well in this house, giving fast success and boldness, provided they are not heavily afflicted. The person may rise quickly in life through sheer force of will. But if the 3rd lord is weak or badly placed and afflicted by malefics like Saturn, Rahu, or a weak Mercury, then it may lead to negative traits like cunningness, manipulation, blind materialism, or even unethical behavior in chasing desires. Despite the risks, when handled well, this placement gives the ability to create your own destiny. These people generate their own luck by staying consistent in their efforts and focused on their goals. They are usually not satisfied with average outcomes and will keep pushing until they reach the top in whatever they pursue. Their desire is not just for material success but also for personal validation and accomplishment. This is a placement of high energy and vision. The third lord in the 11th house defines a personality that doesn't rest until dreams turn into reality. Whether through career, business, or social influence, these natives are designed to move upward in life. They constantly create new opportunities and are often admired for their dedication and commitment to their aspirations. When the lord of the third house is placed in the 12th house, it creates a deep and complex connection between one's efforts and themes like isolation, loss, foreign lands, spirituality, and imagination. This placement often drives a person to make deliberate efforts to travel abroad, or even to permanently settle in a foreign country. The energy of the third house, which governs communication, courage, and initiative, gets filtered through the mystical and expansive lens of the 12th house, which may turn one's focus towards spiritual growth, solitary work, or service in isolated environments. Such a native is often drawn to spiritual pursuits and may find that efforts towards meditation, solitude, or connecting with the inner self become especially rewarding. They are not merely dreamers but can actually build a powerful intuitive capacity if they invest time in practices like yoga, breathwork, or prayer. The 12th house is naturally connected to Pisces, a watery and sensitive sign, and when the third lord lands here, the best results come when efforts are made toward intuition, charity, compassion, and spiritual service. There may also be a tendency to be reserved, calm, and introspective. These individuals can come across as dreamy or lost in thought, and they may struggle with consistency and discipline if the rest of the chart does not provide grounding support. However, this laid-back or even procrastinating nature can be balanced with intentional routines. A peaceful private life is important for them, and they often prefer to work behind the scenes or in environments that offer solitude, such as research, hospitals, or spiritual centers. This placement can make one an excellent writer, especially in the realms of fiction, poetry, and spiritual literature. The vivid imagination linked to the 12th house fuels creativity, and the communication talent from the third house supports expressive skills. These individuals may be natural artists, storytellers, or spiritual teachers who channel their insights into meaningful content. Even if socially quiet, their words can carry deep impact when shared through the right medium. Financially, caution is needed. There may be a tendency toward excessive spending, particularly on luxurious or branded items, often out of impulse or emotional escape. If not handled wisely, this can lead to debt or unnecessary losses. These individuals must learn to align their efforts with value-based investments and practical financial planning. On the positive side, they might receive financial benefits through foreign work, international collaborations, or spiritually aligned careers. Relationships with siblings may be distant, either geographically or emotionally. Sometimes, siblings live far away or there are misunderstandings that create emotional gaps. In some charts, this placement can show that one's efforts or energy go toward supporting the sibling's spiritual or isolated lifestyle. For example, a sibling might become a monk, spiritual seeker, or choose a very different path that separates them from the family unit. The third lord in the 12th house can also create a strong connection with secret or hidden subjects. These people might be drawn to occult sciences, mysticism, astrology, or healing arts like Reiki and Tantra. They are naturally curious about what lies beyond the surface and often spend a lot of time researching the unseen aspects of life. This placement supports careers in intelligence, psychology, foreign services, aviation, and creative fields like film or literature. There can be a karmic aspect to this placement, where the person is required to let go of their ego-driven efforts and move toward more selfless action. Practicing charity, kindness, and compassion toward others, especially the underprivileged or voiceless, is highly recommended. This not only purifies the karmic results of the 12th house but also helps the individual find deeper meaning and satisfaction in life. The more they give, the more fulfilled they feel. In summary, the third lord in the 12th house urges the person to align their actions with higher ideals. Whether it is through travel, spirituality, creativity, or service, their efforts are meant to be directed towards something greater than themselves. If this energy is not channeled consciously, it may lead to confusion, carelessness, or escapism. But if used with awareness, it offers a beautiful path towards spiritual evolution, artistic brilliance, and compassionate living. If you found this video valuable and it gave you new insights into your chart, please take a moment to like it, subscribe to Taurus Astro, and share it with your friends or anyone curious about Vedic astrology. Your support means a lot and helps us continue creating deep, research-based content like this. This isn't just another AI-generated video. Behind every word is real study, astrological wisdom, and a commitment to clarity and truth. We'd also love to hear from you in the comments. Where is your third lord placed, and how do you feel it has shaped your life? Your story could help someone else understand their own chart better, so don't hesitate to share.